This is a penny, but today I'm going to show you how in 8 months I traded just a penny into an $800 Lego set. So first I got my longboard and rode it over to my friend's house. I stopped by and made a trade. So I got this sick Minecraft skin, and Bricklink says he's valued around $10. Here's my listing for him on eBay. Let's see if he sells. He sold for a cent. And that's basically nothing. You add up the shipping, which is $10.36, you have $10.37. Now we got something to work with. I was scrolling yesterday and I found this. The reason I picked this for the next trade was because I saw a helmet to a snowtrooper and the body to Jack 14. And those are two pretty good figures to sell. And for just $11, I think it was a pretty good deal. And a little side note on this episode, before you guys go and comment that I went 66 cents over budget, I'm sorry. This is really the best thing I could do to get the closest to getting something that could make us a profit. So this is everything I got, color sorted and everything. There was some of the figures I showed you guys before, among Star Wars and Ninjago and some Avengers, and a good amount of miscellaneous pieces to add to the value. Here's a listing, let's see if he sells. And we sold that for $8.68 plus the $11.75 shipping. We have a total of $20.45, which is basically double we had last time. So we are definitely getting up on that value. Now, basically $20 is not that much when you're going to buy Lego, but I should be able to find something substantial that we can trade to for just this $20. So what ended up happening is I found this listing here and it looks pretty promising. So I offered this guy $15 and guess what? Yeah, he accepted it. And that perfectly fits into our budget of $20.45. So it came. And first of all, I sorted all of the pieces by Lego and Fig. Starting off the list here, we have the truck from the Indiana Jones, like that Nazi wing set, like the fighter jet or something. But this is where we can get the money to trade up to the next item here. Now, first of all, until we get to this big guy right here, we have 3 Rebel Troopers, but then here we have a 2005 Kashyyyk Trooper right here. These guys only came in one set, the big turbo tank from that year, and these guys are scoring around $50 on the aftermarket. So, last episode, I traded up to 2 Ninjago figs, which I sold for $2, 3 Rebel Troopers, which I sold for $12, this Indiana Jones truck, which I sold for $14, then all the pieces that I sorted, haven't sold those yet. If I do sell them, which I probably will sell them later, I will put the money towards something else in this challenge. And lastly, the 2005 Kashyyyk Trooper, I forgot to mention, he did not come with a helmet, and that's how I sold him, and I sold him for $27. So in total, we have $55.50, plus what buyers paid for shipping, which was $6.24. We have a grand total of $61.74. And now that we know how much I have for spending money, we can get to the buying portion of this video. So what ended up happening is I ended up winning the slot for $59, which is right in our budget of $61. The reason I decided to pick this one up is because I saw a lot of these vintage Star Wars figs, which sell for pretty good money on the aftermarket, like that Boba Fett there, and that old General Grievous with that expensive cape. So the package came and I sorted all of the bricks by color as usual, and I was thinking I should probably put these bricks with the bricks from the previous episodes, so maybe I could sell then. And anyway, so here are the figures. I found all the big ones that I was really looking for, like that Boba Fett. He goes for around $30-$40. There's the General Grievous with the cape, which he is the more expensive version of that with that cape. Welcome everyone to the first of a 2-part series of a very special edition episode of the Trade Up Challenge at Brick Fair, Virginia. Before we get into it, let's count up how much money our previous items sold for on eBay. First of all, the Chewbacca and 2 Ewoks, the Transformation set from 2005 with Darth Vader, and the 2 figures for the B-Wing came out to a total of $23.58. Then we have Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, their younger versions with yellow skin. They both sold for $12.50. The old Darth Vader and old Emperor Palpatine both sold for $15.50. The 2 older Obi-Wans sold for $15.51. And the 2 General Grievous with no legs and the expensive cape sold for $35. And the older Boba Fett sold for $46. Some listings did simply not sell, or the buyer just didn't pay for it yet. If any of them do sell and the buyer pays for them, that money will go back to the next episode. But for this episode, we're just gonna go with what sold right now, and the total for that is $148.09. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, $150 is a lot of money when you go to buy Lego. And on eBay it is, but we're at Brick Fair this episode. And if you didn't already know, Brick Fair prices are hiked up a lot. A lot of the stuff is very overpriced. Like, look at the Boba Fett we just sold for around $50. He's $100 here, and some of the figs around it too. Take note of those, because those are crazy high prices. But the reason for that is the vendors are trying to make money, and without shipping and tax, it's way easier to buy stuff here, which is usually good for most people, but not for me in this challenge. After looking at all the figures and sets and the vendors, I decided on buying some figures at this vendor here. The first figure I decided to pick up was Zeb from the Rebels. He goes for around $80 to $100, and that's what I got him here for at this vendor for $80. I also ended up buying an old Episode 2 clone from 2003 for $20. Altogether, we spent $100 and we still have $48 left to maybe put on a trade in case we don't have enough. So now I set off with my 2 figures and went and asked all the vendors if they would be willing to trade with me. All of them said no because they said it was a little too early into the public hours right now for them to be trading stuff, and they told me to come back later that day for the yard sale or on Sunday. Then I went to seek advice from Ryan or M&R Productions. You might know him. He's a small Lego YouTuber. When I got up there, I talked about when he mentioned me and asked M&R Productions, and I thanked him for it. And I also asked him what he thinks I should do next in this challenge. He didn't really know, but he did tell me he was doing his own challenge here at Brick Fair for just these 2 days. And he was basically doing the same thing I was doing and trading up in value from a single stud. When his video comes out, I'll link it up in the top right hand corner, and if you don't see it up there, then it should be down in the description. Anyways, long story short, he was at around $70-$80 value of stuff right now, and that got me thinking, just maybe we could do a trade with Ryan. I then walked away and gave this idea a little thought. But when I couldn't make any more trades with the vendors at the Brick Fair, I went back and found Ryan and asked him if he did want to do the trade. And he told me yes, but he told me to meet him in an hour because he had to go get it from the car and maybe potentially make another trade with someone else. So then I went to talk to this YouTuber named Republic Studs. He's really cool, shout out to him. He was giving me the rundown on the Whatnot auctions and stuff. And next I went to this barbecue place next door to the convention center and had some pretty good ribs there. Then finally I went over and met up with Ryan and went with a couple of his friends and some people that wanted to trade with him over to the cafe in the convention center and sat down on one of the tables and talked some business.
So far I have this creator set, these parts, I have these figures, I have the A-list Sakura, which is mint apparently. We've got a bunch of red parts. We have a Jar Jar Binks, very valuable. And we have the peanut M&Ms, of course, so it's going to be a nice throw-in for someone. And a poly bag.
Now that we've seen what Ryan has, let's see what the other guy, Brandon, has to trade.
So, Brandon has also brought some items for trade.
The rare, very sought after, just classic, and mint boxes too, just mint. Everyone loves a battle pack.
All right. 2 sealed Dark Trooper battle packs, that's pretty good. The retail value on both of them is $35 each, so it'd be $70 value.
Are you willing to let this common figure go for these 2 premium battle packs?
Why, yes I am. Looks like we've got a deal.
Nice.
So after this trade here, it opened up a new door of opportunity for me to get a little better deal on my Zeb figure here. So now me and Ryan negotiated, and I ended up ending on this final offer here of my Zeb figure, the 2 sealed Dark Trooper battle packs, the rest of the figures, the bag of all those grass pieces, the poly bag, and that premium bag of peanut M&Ms. And he ended up saying,
All right, let's do it. A trade. Ding, 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 ding.
Alright, so I started the day off trying to get rid of these 2 Dark Trooper battle packs. A lot of the vendors that I asked turned me down and said they wouldn't be able to trade anything right now, and a lot of this happens in this video, and I'm just gonna skip through that and just tell you guys the trades that I actually made. So anyways, here at this vendor, I ended up trading this guy the 2 battle packs for the 76060 Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum. He had it for $50 here, which is around what it goes for online. I thought it was a pretty good trade because the boxes were damaged on the Dark Trooper battle packs, and they were sets that were out on shelves right now. Overall, I think it was a pretty good trade up to get rid of these 2 Dark Trooper battle packs. Then I took this newly acquired Marvel set and ended up trading it for this 2010's Batman set here. At the vendor that I traded the Marvel set to, it had the Batman selling for $90, which would look like a trade up from a $50 set to a $90 set, but it actually wasn't really, and I ended up trading down like $10. Despite that poor decision on trading for that, I ended up finding a vendor that would give me a stellar trade that would work perfectly in my favor. And the trade was the Batman set for a 2014 Kashyyyk Battle Pack, which is worth around $70 sealed. And with that, it just shot us up another $20 in value. And because battle packs are so hot right now, this ended up being a very quick trade. I ended up getting this old vintage train set. It's just a cargo car, but it's from 2001 and it's from this very expensive line of Lego sets called My Train. This one, in fact, was going for $150 sealed online, which I did not know at the time, which explains this next trade. So if you know anything about vendors at BrickFair, Virginia, no one likes to sell used sets or pay for used sets. And because of this, sealed sets are the only thing that most vendors sell. I did not know this. And when I saw this used pirate set here from 1989 with a $160 price tag on it, I thought, let's go. This will be a perfect thing to trade for my old train car set here. And boy, was I wrong. That was my biggest mistake in this challenge. Trading to a used set where I could get no one to even give me half of what it said on the price tag, which you know is very hiked up. So I didn't really know what to do, and I ended up just taking some store credit from one of the vendors, and he ended up giving me 110 store credits for all my figures and this used set, which I thought was a pretty generous offer since no one was willing to trade me anything, and this would at least keep me at around where I was at beforehand. After that, I used this store credit to buy this Hobbit set here. Pretty good set to have or to trade because everyone likes the Hobbit and it's sealed and it's a very cool set. So now I took this sealed Hobbit set and ended up trading it for a Lego Star Wars set. The set 75261 Clone Scout Walker. This is a 20th anniversary set, and I thought I could trade this set a little easier than the Hobbit set because it's Star Wars and everyone loves Star Wars. I did end up trading like $10 down, but we won't talk about that now. I then took this Star Wars set and went over to a different vendor where they were selling a lot less sets and more figures. And they did have this one set here that I saw that I thought would be in our range of maybe getting later in this challenge. It is the 6866 Wolverine's Chopper Showdown with that coveted Deadpool minifigure. That's the only set that came with Deadpool and is very expensive right now, sealed, because of the supposed new Deadpool movie coming out. I went and talked to the guy running the stand, and he said he is looking mainly for Star Wars minifigures for trading because he has to fly everything home in his suitcase and all those sets won't fit. So he was not open to the trade for the box just yet. So I decided to go over and try to find a Star Wars minifigure to maybe possibly trade the sealed set for, so we could get a better deal on this Wolverine's Chopper Showdown. So I ended up picking up an expensive figure on the cheaper end here. If you haven't seen already, it is the blue Greedo, and apparently it was not gonna cut it for the amount that he was asking for. So I bargained a little bit and ended up adding all of my $48.09 to it, and we ended up working out a deal, and I ended up getting it. Overall, I think we're at a pretty good spot in the challenge, and going to BrickFair definitely helped us climb on that value in our journey to get that UCS Imperial Star Destroyer. Okay, so we ended up selling all of the listings that weren't selling beforehand, including the 2-pound lot of all sorted pieces for $2, all those droids for $4, and the sealed Lego Marvel set with Deadpool for $150, bringing our budget to $156. At the time when these listings were ending and selling, I just started school and my life was getting super busy and I didn't really have time to find listings to flip for this challenge, and I only did end up finding one right here. It's a little under budget at $40, but I'm pretty sure we should be able to flip it for a very good price. So when it got here, I took it and then I opened it up and then I dropped the box, pushed away the plastic, and here we go, the 2 sets that I got. The first one here was used and I had to build it up, and it wasn't exactly 100% complete and didn't have any minifigures. But obviously this is the less important set in this bunch because Next up, we have the 21125 Jungle Treehouse. This set came out in 2016 and retailed for $70 back in the day, and is now going for around $100 sealed on the aftermarket. Mine, as it turns out, while sealed, is in not the best shape. While it is crushed in the backside, there is no way for me to really fix that. Because of this, I don't think the set will sell for the $100 that it's worth because of the condition of the box, but I'll hope for the best on this one here. So as you can see here is the Minecraft set that we traded up to last episode, and it ended up selling for $48 right on the dot. Here is the final total plus shipping and tax. And then here is how much actually made it to my bank account. Subtracting the cost for the shipping label, it is basically $65.25 minus $17.28. And when you subtract that, you get $47.97. And for the sake of simplicity, that's just $48. Besides this, that sheep farm set sold for $7, bringing our grand total to $170 right on the dot. If y'all have ever watched this series before, you know that all of the stuff I've bought has been on eBay, but this episode is a little bit different. This time, the item that I found so happens to be on Facebook Marketplace. And if you didn't know, Facebook Marketplace is a lot like eBay. It's just a different online marketplace for people to buy and sell things like Lego. So anyways, this listing that I stumbled across, when I first found it, I was freaking out because it looked like so many sets. But when I started to look at it closer, I saw that there wasn't really enough minifigures to complete all the manuals in the listing, and that kind of brought my hopes down on what I thought would be in there. But I decided to take the gamble. I saw that it was a little bit over my budget. So I talked to the guy and we haggled down to a price of $170 and we ended up getting it. As I opened it up, I realized the sheer size of this lot. And as I started pulling out the manuals, I started to get super nostalgic for all these old sets. And I started to realize that I had a little bit more than $170 in this lot here. Even if none of the sets were complete, this is way more than double of the $170 we originally spent. And there's a potential that there could be upwards of quadruple digits in here. As I started sorting, it took me a very long time to do it. It actually took me a full week of sorting to get all the pieces designated in their select colors. I also took out all the minifigures and have them on this base plate here. As you can see, there is a pretty big variety of complete and non-complete figures because a lot of the stuff in this lot is pretty incomplete. There's also a lot of themes represented in the figures, such as the mostly designated Star Wars portions and some Indiana Jones and even some Lord of the Rings. You guys can probably start to tell about what sets are in here and what sets aren't from the manuals that you saw earlier. But anyways, this is all the figures and the mostly incomplete figures too. And I have all the rest of the figure parts that didn't really go to any of the figures in different piles here. And after 3 months of sorting, we ended up completing 45 Star Wars sets. And from just spending $170, we ended up turning this into $2,500 worth of value in all of these sets, which in my opinion made this challenge an absolute success. And now, after 8 months of trading, we had finally did it. We have traded up to more than enough to buy the UCS Imperial Star Destroyer, but there was one problem. I barely owned any of these sets, and I love Star Wars. And the early 2000s and late 2010s were the years of some of my favorite sets. So I had to make a decision. Did I want to keep all of these incredible sets or just buy one giant gray triangle? And I hope you guys won't be too mad at me, but I ended up keeping all the sets. But. So this challenge doesn't really end on a bad note. I ended up buying a constellation, the 2002 UCS Imperial Star Destroyer, which in my opinion the box looks a little better than the newer one, but that's just my opinion. But anyways, I ended up getting this for a pretty good deal, just under $400. And also, if you guys want to see all the sets and prices of them, I linked a spreadsheet in the description. And finally, you'll never guess, I'm doing a season 2. Yay! But anyways, I have a poll up right now with
4 sets on it, and you guys can vote which set I should trade up to for next season. I'm a little biased here, but I hope you guys vote for the Death Star 2 because that set is awesome. So with one last outro in season 1, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.